Welcome back to ZNGP today. Aprilia's off-track drama escalated at Assen as Jorge Martín's camp claims he's free for 2026, and team boss Massimo Rivola fires back, keeping Martín is Aprilia's priority one. But failing that, only two options remain to resolve the contract impasse. Here's how one of MotoGP's hottest spec scripts is set to play out. The contract battle between Jorge Martín and Aprilia reached new heights at Assen when Martín's manager Albert Valera publicly declared his client free for 2026 and floated Honda as an alternative. Dorna CEO Carmelo Ezpeleta and Aprilia boss Massimo Rivola swiftly countered, insisting Martín remains under contract and outlining only two paths forward: settlement or court. Now, Valera has proposed a radical fix: bring MotoGP and F1-style contract recognition board to resolve disputes swiftly and in private. After 3 grueling months off the MotoGP grid, Jorge Martín made his first on-bike appearance this week, albeit on an Aprilia V4 superbike rather than the RSGP prototype. Under the blistering 40 degrees Celsius Catalan sun, Martín clocked 68 laps at Montmello, signaling a critical step in his recovery from the rib and scaphoid fractures suffered in Qatar. Yamaha's much-anticipated V4 prototype took another step forward in this week's private Brno test, where Andrea Dovizioso and Augusto Fernandez evaluated significant revisions, including a radical KTM-style rear wing, under MotoGP's concession rules. While lap times remain under wraps, the visual makeover has sparked fresh debate over Yamaha's 2026 blueprint. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. Facing public calls from Martín's manager Albert Valera that the 2021 world champion has triggered a performance exit clause, Rivola remained unequivocal about Aprilia's top goal. Priority 1 is to keep the rider. We will do everything in our hands to protect the company. Rivola statement. Despite fractured ribs and ongoing rehab, Aprilia sees Martín as central to its title hopes. Rivola insists the team's performance this season, and Marco Bezzecchi's recent surge, only underscore Martín's value, both on track and off. When asked how Aprilia would respond if Martín truly walks away, Rivola laid out a stark choice: negotiate or litigate. We find an agreement and sit down seriously, or go to court. We are ready to do both. Aprilia's public willingness to battle in court marks a rare hardline approach in MotoGP. Rivola's remark that nothing has really changed, even amid courtside threats, signals the team's resolve to enforce contract terms to the letter. Valera claims Martín's performance clause has been validly triggered, freeing him to explore Honda or other options. Rivola disputes that interpretation outright. Regarding why Valera thinks that clause is valid, you need to ask Valera. I have a completely different opinion. The legal tussle centers on whether Martín's injury-limited season fulfills the clause's criteria. Aprilia's boss is prepped to defend the contract's sanctity, no loopholes left unchallenged. With Martín sidelined, Bezzecchi has delivered wins and podiums, proving Aprilia's machine can fight at the front. We took Martín to fight for the World Championship, and I think we would be there without the injuries. Marco is showing that it's possible to do it. So with Martín, even more. Bezzecchi's Silverstone win and Assen double podium supply Aprilia with confidence, and a plan B if negotiations break down. Yet Rivola believes only Martín offers that extra edge to challenge Ducati's Marc Marquez. When pressed on whether reconciliation remains on the table, Rivola struck a cautious note, tempering tension with a wry quip. In the past we've seen unhappy riders fight for titles. Let's see. Luckily, we don't have children. The jest underscores the stakes. Like a high-profile divorce, emotions run deep. Yet Rivola reminds the paddock that many, split, partnerships still delivered on-track success, hinting at possible détente should Martín's penmanship align with Aprilia's demands. As summer break looms, Aprilia and Martin face a ticking clock showdown. Will they craft a new deal, or will lawyers decide the champion's fate? Either way, Brno's pre-test and the Sachsenring's return spotlight a season-defining saga, one with the future of an injured icon and a factory mark hanging in the balance. On the MotoGP.com live stream, Valera stunned the paddock by claiming Martin had executed a performance clause freeing him to sign elsewhere for 2026, and that Honda was already a contender. "He's completely open, available, and we will see what happens. Honda is an option for next year." Valera statement. Aprilia's factory seat suddenly looked under threat. What began as an off-season tug-of-war exploded mid-race weekend, forcing rivals to take sides. Forced into the fray, Dorna CEO Ezpeleta reminded all parties of MotoGP's rules. No rider may join the grid in 2026 without either a mutual termination or an arbitrator's ruling. "We won't allow anyone to register who doesn't have an agreement or a court ruling declaring the contract invalid." Ezpeleta's statement. With Ezpeleta's backing, Aprilia's claim to Martin's services was fortified. Any premature move by Martin risks grid exclusion, raising the stakes for a quick resolution. Speaking to DAZN, Rivola echoed Ezpeleta and framed Aprilia's choice: either strike a deal now, or prepare for legal battle. "Either we give in and reach an agreement, or we go to court. We will do everything to protect the company," Rivola added. Aprilia's factory team refuses to be bullied into a settlement. The message is clear: Martin's future hangs in the balance, but Aprilia's contract integrity is non-negotiable. Valera stressed the importance of resolving the dispute before Martin returns to the RSGP, so his focus can be solely on riding. "It would be very important for everything to be clear before Jorge gets back on the bike, so he can focus all his efforts on riding," Valera added. With Martin's earliest comeback penciled in for Brno on July 18th to 20th, the clock is ticking. Each day of uncertainty risks distracting the reigning champion from preparation and performance. To avoid lengthy court fights, Valera proposed importing the FIA's Contract Recognition Board, a private arbitration body that settles disputes in 48 to 72 hours, keeping sensitive contracts confidential. "A CRB would save time, court costs, and keep our contracts out of ordinary courts where they can leak," Valera concluded. The CRB's track record, including settling Schumacher's 1991 Jordan Benetton dispute, highlights its speed and discretion. For MotoGP, it could mean swift clarity instead of months of legal wrangling. The Martin, Aprilia saga has morphed from paddock gossip into a potential legal showdown, one that risks overshadowing on-track action. With mutual agreement, court, or perhaps a MotoGP CRB, the grid's next season hangs in the balance. Whatever path they choose, one thing is certain: time is short, and the only winner will be the team or rider best served by a swift resolution. Martin let fans know immediately. This was his true comeback test, not the road bike laps in Misano. He reminded everyone how long it's been, and how much work lies ahead. "Back on the bike after 3 months. Martin, Instagram." The 6 hours on the RS-V4 may not match MotoGP speeds, but for Martin, each kilometer on Montmello's 4.7 km layout was a victory over pain and doubt. Completing 68 laps and touching 280 km per hour under such heat was never the plan. It was the goal. Doctors authorized Thursday's session but demanded another health check next Monday. Some ribs and Martin's scaphoid still aren't fully healed. After today's test, the rider returns Monday for another medical check. Some injuries are not yet fully recovered. Aprilia statement. Aprilia walked a tightrope, eager to get their champion back, yet bound by new regulations that mandate a fresh medical clearance before any RSGP testing. Safety first, and every crack must knit before Martin grabs MotoGP grips again. Despite the scorching conditions, Martin reported promising feelings on the RS-V4, though he's under no illusion about the work remaining to ride 100% fit. The feeling was good, it was very hot, and he still has to improve physically, but overall the conclusions were positive. Insider statement. Riding a super sport bike under 40 degrees Celsius is a litmus test for endurance. Martin's fitness plan now hinges on translating these V4 spins into MotoGP level stamina. The next 48 hours on the road bike will be a vital bridge. With a green light from Dr. Chart, Martin aims to join his team and the MotoGP RSGP for a one-day Misano shakedown next Wednesday. Only then will the final nod for Brno arrive. Misano will be Martin's barometer. Can he handle prototype power, cornering loads, and braking forces? Success there unlocks Brno, where he'll pick up the 2025 championship chase once and for all. Despite his road bike lapse in Misano and the V4 blast in Barcelona, Martin's roadmap remains unchanged. Prioritize health, then return strongest. These 2 days of testing with the road bike do not change the rider's plan of action. Insider added. Mental readiness is as crucial as physical healing. Martin resisted impatience in June for a fleeting ride. This week, he committed to structured progress. Aprilia's doctors and trainers will now sculpt his final preseason push. Jorge Martin's Catalan comeback was more than a public relations exercise. It was a proof of principle. He survived Montmello's furnace, respected Aprilia's medical protocols, and rallied hope for Misano's prototype test. If Dr. Chart signs off next week, Martin's true return to the full-power RSGP at Brno could reignite the 2025 MotoGP title hunt and remind everyone why he's world champion material. Speedweek.com photos reveal Yamaha's new Aero, which mimics KTM's signature rear wing, mounted to a V4-powered chassis for the first time in anger. The most striking visual development was a new KTM-style rear wing. Unlike the current inline-4 M1, this prototype sports a broader, more contoured winglet, aimed at boosting high-speed stability and downforce. The design tweak underlines Yamaha's willingness to explore radical aero solutions. Under deconcession rules, Yamaha and Honda can field contracted race riders in private sessions. In Brno, Alex Rins and Miguel Oliveira joined factory test squad alongside Dovizioso and Fernandez, while Luca Marini returned post-injury for Honda. This mix of seasoned MotoGP pros and Moto2 talents provides diverse feedback, vital for refining both the inline-4 and V4 platforms. Brno's technical layout is a proving ground for aero and engine mapping alike. After Barcelona's debut, Yamaha managing director Paolo Pavizio tempered expectations, stressing the prototype's nascent status, but confirming progress aligns with rider feedback. The V4 is in the very early stages of development, but the bike character is going in the direction we were looking for. Pavizio's statement. Pavizio's cautious optimism indicates that while raw pace remains secret, Yamaha's engineers believe they're on the right aerodynamic and power delivery path. Yamaha insists 2020 SIXS grid slot isn't guaranteed for the V4. Only if the new engine and aero package convincingly outpace the proven inline-4 will it earn approval for the factory squad. With homologation rules not covering rear wings, race riders might experiment with the new wing on current M1S in Germany, accelerating real-world validation ahead of a potential wildcard V4 run. Should the prototype prove its mettle, Fernandez is slated to carry the V4 into late-season wildcard outings, offering crucial comparative data against the inline runner and solidifying Yamaha's 2026 direction. If all goes well, the V4 is tipped to make a wildcard appearance in the closing stages of the 2025 campaign. This strategic gamble allows Yamaha to hedge its bets, garnering real track intelligence without committing its full factory program until performance is undeniable. Yamaha's Brno test showcased that the V4 project is still evolving, and that rear aero innovations are central to its competitive hopes. As concession allowances let race stars guide development, every lap, every wing tweak, and every data point edges Yamaha closer to a 2026 decision: stay loyal to the inline-4 or unleash the V4's potential on the Premier Class grid. Thanks for watching ZNGP today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time!